Okay. All right. So today I'm talking with Tiffani Brown, and hi. It's really nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you
Yeah.
too. Nice to put a face to the name.
Likewise. Yeah. So Tiffani, you graduated 1 year ago,
No, it's
right?
crazy. The year has been such a blur. Like, I looked up
Yeah.
and it was May 1st, and I'm like, what happened?
Well, and this is what I wanted to start talking about because, we're getting ready for our grad showcase coming up,
Mhm.
which is very exciting, and it's going to be online.
Yay! I was
Yeah.
wondering about that. That's great.
Yeah, well, given the circumstances
Yeah.
with COVID-19 and we just felt like no, we don't want to pass this opportunity up. Of course, it's nice to meet people in person, but here's also a chance to
Yeah.
embrace this time that we're living in, and the way that technology is able to connect us.
It was
So
amazing.
yeah. So I wanted to just ask you, what has this past year been like for you since graduating from Maximut?
Honestly, it's been a whirlwind of information, like daily daily is like stretching it. Daily infused information, just learning so much constantly. And like I said, I'm being nice by saying daily. It's honest, it feels like minute by minute. It's new information. But it's great because it's pushing me to become better. Like you get to a point of graduation and you think you've learned everything. Got it down, you got it, you know it all. I got to work. I thought I knew Photoshop. Oh my gosh. I don't know Photoshop at all.
Really?
I know the basics, but to be able to perform in the way that they have asked me to, I've had to, oh, that's how you use this brush or that commander. I'm still learning, even 1 year later after graduating. I'm still learning. It doesn't stop.
Right, exactly. But I think that that's probably very typical,
Mhm.
for anyone, because you learn in school, but when you're in a job, when you're in with a studio, when you're in, like, the learning continues,
Oh
right?
yeah, and I honestly enjoy it. I really do. Like I said, it's been a whirlwind. I graduated with the job. Like it was crazy.
Wow, nice.
So it was so cool, and I've been able to meet some amazing people. Like I couldn't ask for a more awesome team or a more awesome place to work. I can't even imagine. And do you know, like the company wasn't even on my radar
Really?
because I felt it's this little voice in you that you feel like you're not good enough.
Hmm.
And so you just kind of in your head you put out all of the bigger, and you think, I don't know, I don't even know if that's right to say, but it
No,
wasn't even on my radar at all.
yeah.
You feel like you want to start, just let me start with a small place and build up and hopefully I'll be ready. No, no, let's just push you into the deep end and just let you go. That's pretty much it.
There you go. And sometimes that's just the best way to do it. Like you say, just jump right into, the big time kind of. I mean, that's really what it
I
is. I mean,
mean, it,
Nelvana,
and it's,
um,
I mean, it's not to knock anybody else. It's just everyone has, their dream and their wanting to, and it's just, you, you honestly walk out sometimes thinking you're just not good enough
mhm,
for any
mhm,
place, and
mhm.
all of a sudden here you are. So again, I don't know if that's okay to say, but here I am.
Hey, of course it's okay to say you're being honest, and that's what, that's why it's important to, I think, do these interviews because, for current students
Yeah.
and for prospective students, these are all the doubts and these are all the questions that they have, right?
Oh,
And
you even think about, maybe if I just start freelance, maybe if I
mhm,
just do that,
mhm,
where I'm not surrounded by all these intimidating people who do these amazing pieces of work. Maybe if I start like that.
mhm.
Um, and like, yeah, I agree with you. We all have those fears, and they just played in my head constantly, going through everything.
Can you talk about how being at Maxima helped you with that? Like helped you maybe gain confidence or helped you get this job and be in the career that you love?
Oh wow, okay. Um, I love I love Maxima because of how much they push you into art. You are drawing and painting 12, and if you stay after, sometimes 15 hours a day. If you come in earlier, it's, you are just infused with so much art, to the point where I remember my teacher, he told me, you're going to get to a point where, yes, we're teaching all this technical stuff and you're learning this name for this thing, and you're just going to get so, it's almost a tired feeling, and you
Mhm,
just start drawing. Just your hand goes up and you just start doing it, and you don't even know, before you know it, the piece is finished. And because you're so infused with so much information all the time, it starts to become just automatic.
mhm.
So I have a huge problem with overthinking, as you just saw 5 minutes ago. Um, and so, like I said, being pushed so heavily that way stopped me from overthinking.
Mm,
It started me just, initially my first thought, here you go, put the pen there and let it rip. So that built my confidence, in a way to say, hey, you know what, you got this. And even if you fail, that's a part of it, because you get those bad drawings and bad pieces out the way first
yeah,
before you get to the good stuff. I hear that all the time. I didn't understand it until now. Um,
right.
but that's that's what I love. That's the confidence. That's how they gave me confidence to be able to go do. So
Wonderful. Yeah. And so can you talk about it, you graduated, you, as you said, you went straight into this job
yeah.
that you love and what it's like what, so talk a little bit about what you do. You are working for Nelvana on the show Esme and Roy.
Yep.
Um,
Season 2, I am a background painter,
mhm.
and basically I paint the worlds that they're going to run around in and play in, and just that's what I do. I for 8 9 hours a day, I am in a completely different country, filled with
Yeah,
bright
fun.
colors and, paintbrushes, and you get lost in it. I put my music on, I'm gone. You know,
Wow.
um, and yeah, we have things where we have to follow certain criteria, a certain color for this tree or a certain color for this grass. You have that in any studio, that because you're all working on a team. You're
Hmm.
not a single individual where, uh, it's you're not by yourself. You're not the only one
Yep.
contributing to this production.
Yeah.
So it's constant communication, constant feedback. And the feedback, you learn, it's not personal at all.
Hmm.
It's, we have to all be on the same page for this to succeed.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes, a lot of students who graduate, they, yes, you want to go in and you want to put your hand on something that's wonderful. And in some cases you do,
Hmm.
but you have to be able to work alongside with those people as well, because all of their hands are on that same production, and
Right.
it's going to take that teamwork to get it out.
Right.
So yeah, it's constant communication, constant back and forth, lots of coloring and lots of music in my ears, in my ears. But it's good. I mean, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You're always aware. So
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of things that I wonder about. I think in one way it sounds so idyllic, for people who love to draw and
yep,
listen to music and you get into your zone, right? And you're
yep,
doing your stuff. And at the same time, like you said, you're part of a team. So you're collaborating, you have that kind of
constantly.
feedback.
Yep,
And then there's another um, there's another part of me because as the outreach director, I speak to a lot of parents. And
yes,
a lot of parents will ask me, is it because you were saying, I paint backgrounds all day. I have color. Like it sounds kind of like unreal, like an unrealistic
yep,
job. And I tell parents, I'm like, no, this is this is what animators, this is what concept artists get to do, is what
Yep.
illustrators get to do. Not that it's like fluffy and airy and,
Oh
it's
no.
hard work, but it is something, right? Like
It's
it's like satisfying. You can have your love and it can be your
yes.
job.
Yes, I think that how do I say this? As artists, we many of us do get wrapped up in the fluff and the everything's so perfect. And I think what people miss sometimes is that it's that fluff, the prettiness, the fun of it that draws us into it. And then when we get there, just because, I have to make a correction or my art director has said, no, do this instead of this. Just because I have to then get technical in the midst of the creativity doesn't
Mhm.
take away from the excitement of it. So what people see is that the the bottom line is, oh my gosh, I get to draw and get paid for it.
Mhm.
It's are you serious? Like it's that kind of is what people see in our attitude. So we don't necessarily mind the technical sides and having to make corrections and having to go back because that's what makes it up. That's what we
Mhm.
have to when we're in school. We
Mhm.
have teachers that come to us and critique us
Mhm.
heavily,
Mhm.
and we have to be able to take those critiques with, I can't even say a grain of salt, but it can't be personal.
Right.
It's all to make you better. And that's what being in an industry is like as well. It's all to make you better for the sake of everyone as a whole. So
Mhm.
it's yeah, we get excited because oh my gosh, we get to draw. But we also understand that there are those technical sides to it that we still have to adhere to.
Yeah,
So
great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. And so that's what your job is. And how about your personal work, your personal projects? How's that been going?
For the first little bit, they were non-existent
Hmm.
because I was trying to get, I wouldn't even say used to the schedule of it, but like I said, my brain was constantly infused with new information. So I
Hmm.
was only focused on how do I get this job right
Hmm.
for a long time. And as far as my personal stuff right now, I still have stories that are bubbling up in there that I
Hmm.
sketch out. Even stories that I did when I was in school. I'm still
Hmm.
continuing them on, still writing, still drawing, still painting. I try to practice my
Right.
for my personal artwork. It doesn't happen every night. I'm going to admit that,
Hmm.
but I do try.
Hmm.
I try to play with new brushes, technology. I have an iPad. I have my Wacom. I have my sketchbook still. I still do traditionally. I'm
Right.
still trying to get out there sketching people and sketching things. Well, not right now, of course, because no one's out there. But but you try to hang on. I don't have any a project that I'm working on specifically right now.
Hmm.
I'm kind of revisiting things that I've either developed while I was in school or yeah, new little stories that pop in. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Well, since you mentioned right now, what has it been like right now for you? Has your life changed a lot during this pandemic, or
um, yes, my bank account is no longer screaming at me because of the commuting costs.
so you're
um,
benefiting from this?
just a bit. No, no, granted, I do miss seeing everybody. I really do. I
Right.
miss seeing everyone's face every day. I miss, the the little things that make being around people worth it. The
Mm-hmm.
the smiles, the little, the banter, I miss that. I do miss my crew so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what has it been like? It's been okay,
Okay.
very quiet.
Yeah.
Um, we try to have meetings, so I still I'll type to some of them every once in a while and say, hey, how you doing? And
Mm-hmm.
just kind of keep, some lines of communication open. But we're all dealing with the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're I think now we're getting to a point where we're finding a workflow finally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're not all so agitated. We may be going a little stir crazy from being inside so much.
Sure.
um, but I think we're all handling it much better than a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So I'm fine.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very happy the sun's out right now.
And you mentioned from a few weeks ago. So when you had to make the transition, so I guess as you said, you were commuting to a studio,
Yep.
and you had to transition to working from home. Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounds like there was an adjustment period, but
Yes. Learning new workflows,
yeah,
learning new programs like Zoom, for instance, I had never even used,
right.
learning new ways of operating. Because of course we all have our routines when we go into the office, right?
Yeah.
You get in there, you get your tea, you sit down and you start working. And now I'm waking up and it's like I don't have to be anywhere for like naturally I would be leaving work and I wouldn't get there for another couple hours. But now I'm
Mhm.
waking up and I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. So you find ways to fill your time with, sleep or preparation or whatever. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
working. I
Yeah.
think
But you're
I think
still
we can
able
do
to
it.
get your work done, which is
Oh yeah, yeah. The companies, like every other company they have been wonderful. I I can't praise them enough on how well they have been able to get everybody up. I just it's been amazing and in such a short amount of time they've done phenomenal.
yeah, that's really great to hear. And I have actually heard from other people and
Mhm.
have read some articles that for the animation industry, it's actually been a fairly seamless
Yeah,
transition because, people can do this work from home.
mhm.
And it's not like, I mean, yes, you need your team, but
Yeah,
you don't need to be in the same room.
yeah, yeah,
And so it's actually an industry that's adapted very well,
yeah.
and they're even predicting that some people will continue working from home, which I think works for some people, but other people, and it sounds like you might be one of them, that's like, I love that
I
environment, the work environment,
I
being with
do.
colleagues.
I love being around the crew. I mean, yeah, of course, we all have our days where we just want to hide in our little box, our home, our little corner, or whatever. But I think being around the crew is what helps me get better because I'm constantly around
Mhm.
people who are creating and they know things I don't know yet. Even though they're a background painter, they may have been a storyboard artist at one point, or they may have, done layout, and you just through conversations you just start learning and oh, they have this bit of information for me of where I'm lacking at. And I can go talk to them because I'm right in the office. So how great is that?
Right.
There's a lot of benefit to it. But again, there's also a lot of benefit to the situation that we're in right now as far as working from home.
Mhm.
So yeah, we can still communicate and still get the job done. But yeah, I can't complain really. Yeah.
I'm wondering, what do you recommend for anyone who's wanting to get into concept art? Your diploma was in concept art, correct?
It was, yes.
Yeah, so concept art or animation. What do you recommend for anyone who's maybe a high school student or someone who's wants to
Um,
switch careers?
oh, observation is draw everything. Draw everything. Um, draw people, draw flowers, draw vases, draw sidewalks, draw everything you can get your eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
Because sooner or later you're going to need that information uh, when you encounter getting into story, getting into development, getting into you're going to need to understand those things. How does concrete look? How do you form it? um, how does the sky look? How do you form, yes, it's blue, but how do you paint it? And just from simple observation you can learn so much. In regards to like a portfolio, is that what you're wanting to know? Or
No, I mean, well, you can even refer to your own, and maybe I'm curious about your own circumstance, how you got into concept art and what made you want to pursue this career.
Oh, wow. I actually started in the animation program when I
Hmm.
started at Mac. Um, and I have been a painter for as long as I can remember. Um, and when when I got into the painting class, the first one that we had, my teacher was like, "You're a painter. Like, what are you doing?" And so, through a lot of communication, I was able to switch.
Hmm.
And I really didn't understand what concept art was because my limited knowledge of concept art was video games. When I was growing up, animation covered all of that from my understanding. It covered everything. I had no idea that it had changed the way it did by the time I went back to school. Is actually, um, so when I got to Max the Mutt, I just thought, hey, animation is what I want to be in because I want to do it all. Um, but I didn't know that concept art, that you could do animation type things in concept art. I didn't understand the correlation until I got in it. But when I
Hmm.
started like really researching it and trying to understand, because I didn't understand a lot of the terms, then I was like, oh, you can actually do this. You can make stories and develop them, and you can animation. But I found that I really didn't want to move things. I wanted to create the story. I wanted to create the characters and create the backgrounds and the objects, things like that. I was I love painting, like I said, and I wanted to remain in that. So yeah, like I said, through communication at the school, I was able to switch and there I am.
There you go. And you know what? That's actually a good point too, because I think some prospective students are nervous about,
Mhm.
am I applying for the right program? And I
Yeah.
tell them, first of all, the first year is a foundation year.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of things happen, right? I think
Yes.
there's a lot of discoveries made and people can switch. We're not
Yes.
holding you to, no, no, you said you're going to be in animation.
Exactly.
That's it. And I think that
Exactly.
that's really important for people to know that, and especially if you're young or you don't know, as you said, you didn't know about concept art,
Yeah.
you don't know then, and then to be able to then discover, okay,
Yes.
this is where I should be.
Yes.
And that's something that I tell people. It's like, it's okay. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. You don't walk in, you're not doomed to stay in one. It's not like that.
yeah,
It's this life that I'm discovering is really all about discovery.
yeah.
It's all about trying to understand who you are, where you want to be, where you want to go. Um, and like I said, all I did was I asked a question, and suddenly I was led over here, and then I was led over here because I kept asking. I kept wanting to know more.
Hmm.
And I think that as students, they get scared
Hmm.
to find out more because they think they made a mistake.
Hmm.
And it's not like that. It's not like I said, the doomsday, oh my gosh, you have to stay here. It's not like that. It's please ask, please
Mm.
research, please, question, please express your interest so that people like you understand where they need to go
Hmm.
so they can hit the goal that they want to hit.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it's all about.
It sounds like your advice is be curious, ask
Yes.
questions, keep,
Yes.
keep probing, keep just researching, as you said. I
Yeah.
think that is really good advice. Stay curious, right?
Stay curious, stay thirsty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. And lastly, I've really enjoyed hearing all this from you, but I wanted to know what advice you have for our grads who
Oh
are
my gosh.
graduating, and what would you say? What pearls of wisdom would you pass on to them?
Oh my goodness. Ooh. Don't be afraid to reach farther than you thought. Um, yeah, even if you do start small, still keep reaching.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean you have to stay there. It doesn't mean that this is it. Um, keep asking, keep those connections that you made, even in the classroom, the teachers, because I'm sure Max is still they still have people that work in the industry as
Oh yeah,
teachers.
yeah,
So those relationships that you build mean a lot.
yeah.
And within those relationships, you have to be willing to take the criticism and understand that they're not personal like you think they are.
Mhm.
They are there to better you so you can get where they are and farther. So when you have, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
when when you have an instructor come to you and say, no, that's not right. They're not saying you're not right.
Right.
All they're saying is the process in which you use to get to this point, you missed a step. Now
Hmm.
just step back and reevaluate and continue on. So that's the best advice that I can give graduates, even when you start looking for a job. Um, Research, because now you're at graduation. You kind of know where you want to
Mm.
go. Research the companies that you want to go to. Understand what they're working on. Understand the styles that they're working on. Does your work fall into that? Does um, pieces of your work fall into that? Where do you need to improve? Can you pop out a couple more pieces that will help show where you want to go? Um, don't be afraid to talk. When you connect with these people, they're not. It's scary, yes, but they're not like the big bear trying to take your head off. They want to get to know you.
Hmm.
So be upfront with them. Be professional, but be upfront.
Hmm.
Ask questions. Get to learn more about the company. Ask them questions. Understand what it is they're looking for and do you fit in. It's all about communication. This
Hmm.
industry is all about community and don't be afraid to speak. And just remember, you made it. You made it to graduation.
Yeah.
That already says something about you.
Good point.
So walk in there, hold your head up, keep smiling, talk to people, and go get that job.
That is great advice. I
Yeah.
love that. I hope that a lot of our grads will watch this because I think it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
I think you've made some really good points, and and it's so great to like I said to meet you and to hear a little bit about your story and about what you're doing. You seem to me to be like in a really good place.
I'm cool. I am cool.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
That's fantastic. And that's all we want for anyone. And for grads, we just, again, this is why it's great to hear
Yeah.
stories of people who've been where they were and look a year later, and as you said, wow, how much has happened.
Yeah. It's honestly, if we had more time, I'd probably tell you more, but it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for your time, and lovely to speak with you. Good luck with everything. I look forward to keeping up with your work. I
Thank you.
really have enjoyed looking at your website. Your website is, can you say what it is?
TiffaniBrown.myportfolio.com.
Yeah, check it out, everybody, because your work is fantastic. It's really like kind of whimsical and playful and great characters and lovely backgrounds. And I really enjoyed perusing on there. And so it's, and all right, well, take care. And I'd like to catch up with you again, down the road and see what other wonderful, interesting things you're doing and how you've stayed curious.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Okay, take care.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.